Hello, my name is Mike Canney, and my wife Diane and I were the owners of Sunset Hills Vineyard, so thank you very much for spending the afternoon with us today. It's a beautiful afternoon. Anyone that had a hand in that, I really would like to say thank you for creating such a nice day. So I'm here with Dana and Paul from the Brambleton Community Association, and we're here today to talk about a couple wines from Sunset Hills that are in the package that some of you have purchased. Thank you very much for purchasing our wines. So today what we're going to talk about is a little bit of the history of Sunset Hills Vineyard. We're going to taste the two wines that were in your package and talk about the property. Sunset Hills, as an original farm, started about 150 years ago. It was originally called the Wenner Farm. They were German immigrants to the United States. They started this farm back in 1870, right after the Civil War. So today what we're going to taste is, we have Chardonnay is the first wine we'll be tasting. We make 3 different Chardonnays. This particular one is, we call it Clone 96. And without getting too geeky, the Clone 96 Chardonnay, there's different clones of Chardonnay, kind of like there's different colors of roses. And different clones provide different flavor and aromatic benefits. And the Clone 96, there's another one called Clone 76. They're both from the Dijon part of France, where Chablis, it's called the Chablis region. And that's where the best Chardonnay in the world comes from. So years ago, when we planted the first vineyard here, my wife and I did, back in 1999, we planted the Clone 96 because I thought, if we're going to, take a chance on growing grapes in Virginia, I'd like to see if we could make the best wine you possibly can. So we thought, we'll get the best possible grapes. The Clone 96 Chardonnay, it's a blend of particular Chardonnay grapes from our Sunset Hills property and also our Shenandoah Springs property, which is out near the town of Woodstock, Virginia. So tasting the wine, you want to have a decent taste. And the Clone 96 Chardonnay, we make this wine, as I said, from two of our properties. At Sunset Hills in Loudoun County, you have mostly clay soils. Clay soils build wines, they create wines bigger bodied, maybe a fuller mouthfeel, I would say. They say that clay makes power. So you have this bigger body. It's about half of the Sunset Hills Clone 96 Chardonnay. The other property from Woodstock, Virginia, our Shenandoah Springs property, it's higher elevation, 11 to 1,300 feet, limestone soils. And limestone soils help add finesse to the wine. So when people talk about wine with minerality, that's what we're talking about, is wine. It's crisp, there's a very clean finish, and I like wine with a little bit of power. I used to race cars, so I like power. So that's what we did in planting the Clone 96 in both locations, and that's what we have for the Clone 96 Chardonnay. This particular vintage is 2017, and a little bit of time we aged this in neutral French oak barrels. Again, that adds to the mouthfeel, it broadens the mouthfeel, makes a more elegant palate, and that pairs really well with this, as I said, the crisp kind of minerality that the wine has. So when we make this wine, this is the single best Chardonnay out of the 3 we make every year. And I talked a little bit about the land that it comes from. Higher elevation gets cold at night, and in the ripening season in the fall, it lengthens out the ripening. The longer it takes to ripen, the more of those really elegant flavors and aromas stay in the wine. And so planting the Chardonnay at higher elevation is one of the ways we do that. This is good wine. I love this wine. So the Clone 96 Chardonnay, very elegant mouthfeel that the wine has, very, very full, but there's a crispness to it. So one of the things we do when we pick these grapes is we pick them a little younger so that we have more of that crispness. As the grapes keep getting riper and riper, the pH keeps going up and the wine becomes flabby, as we say. I don't like a flabby wine. So this Chardonnay, from the limestone soils, the clay soils, the different elevations, picking it a little young so that we have the crispness. We didn't let the wine go flabby. We barrel age it to improve the mouthfeel. That's what you get with a bottle of our 2017 Sunset Hills Clone 96 Chardonnay. Okay, so the second wine, so the Chardonnay was really good. The second wine that I would like to taste through with you is our 2015 Sunset Hills Petit Verdot. And Petit Verdot is a very interesting grape. When we first started planting it back 2004, 2005, it wasn't a very popular grape to plant by itself. It comes from the Bordeaux region of France, where I think they make the best wine, the best red wines in the world. And it's one of the 5 Bordeaux varieties. You've heard of Cabernet Sauvignon, you've heard of Merlot. Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and Carmenere are varieties that are lesser well known. So you always plant a little bit of Petit Verdot historically, because that added in a rainy year where the colors are a little bit lighter in the red wines, vineyard owners and the chateaus in Bordeaux, they would plant a little bit of Petit Verdot and add 5 to 10% Petit Verdot typically. Well, as it turns out, Petit Verdot grows really well in Virginia. We can't replicate France or Tuscany or other places in northern Virginia, but what we can do is we can find the grapes that grow well here, and this allows our grapes that we grow in Virginia and the wine we make, we want them to be really good, and Virginia to be known for these, not just, well, they do it almost as well as France does or California or other places. So Petit Verdot is one of those grapes that it makes very small grapes, literally like the size, like this big. Well, in Virginia, the good thing is all of that space around the grapes for airflow means no disease issues, so it's a very easy to grow grape. A lot of the tannins that you're actually going to taste in the wine come from the skins of the grape. So when you have a small grape, if you think about it, you have a lot of surface area of skin and not a lot of volume of juice. So the tannins that you have is a lot higher than if you would have in a much larger grape. We always blend a little bit of other grapes in with Petit Verdot. And in 2015, typically what we do is we'll blend in 30–40% of Cabernet Franc. Cabernet Franc is also a really nice grape. To me, it's the favorite red grape that we grow in Virginia. So the Petit Verdot has a little bit of Cabernet Franc. It lengthens the finish of the Petit Verdot. And let's see how it tastes. So as I said, Petit Verdot has a very rich, dark color and a really nice nose. I always think when you're drinking wine, it's like a little vacation. If you think about it, what we're drinking was rain back in 2015. So when the rain percolated into the soil, picked up a lot of flavors from the soil, the roots pick the water up into the leaves are ripened in the sun. So we're turning sunshine into wine. And the Petit Verdot, it just really has very nice flavors and really nice aromatics. And I personally like Petit Verdot with some age on it. I think that 5 years old we're getting into the sweet spot of where the wine is good. 5 to 10 years is how long you can really age, at least 10 years, you can age Petit Verdot and it becomes a very good wine. And that's a nice wine. So I like Petit Verdot, I like the tannins. You can really feel the tannins in your mouth. It's mouth-filling. It goes really well. I always think, when I drink the Petit Verdot, I always think of what would I have with it. And if you think of steaks or rich foods hold up well to a rich wine. And that's definitely what the Petit Verdot is. And I hope that you enjoy these with your tasting package that you have. And we can't wait to see you all actually come out to Sunset Hills. You can't see it on the camera, but you're here on a beautiful day. It's a beautiful property, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.